Alright, alright, so now I'm going to explain some of the parts. So here's my Insta360 X3. So this is just the standard X3. I'll test it with the standard microphone. The black things that you see here are little Velcro strips that I put over the mic. So if I get in close, basically there's a little hole right in the middle of the Velcro on each side. And then my second test is the other side of the Velcro, and then I attached a piece of microphone foam on top. So I just basically cut up a piece of foam from my other microphone and I just stuck it on. So this is like a little wind muff. So that's going to be like test 2. And then test 3, I'm going to use this external 3.5 Insta360 adapter attached to either my Neewer CM28 microphone set. So this is a pretty nice set. It's about $90. And there's a few of these sets floating on Amazon that look exactly the same. So I'll link them in the description, but one is called Neewer, one is called the Velcro X5. So these are basically just dupes of the DJI mic. So if you could afford the DJI mic, I would definitely recommend getting that. That one's normally around $350. This one here is only about $90. I just went with the cheap dupe just to see how it is, and it actually performs pretty well. Lastly, I have this Sony microphone. This is the ECM-LV1. So this is just a right-left channel 3.5, and it comes with a little foam muff, so you can put that on also. And oh, I forgot to mention, these also go on the Neewer receivers. So basically, there's little grooves in here, and then you line it up in here from the back side, and then you just basically just put this on, you spin it around, and it works pretty well. And this last thing here is just the bracket to mount the receiver. So basically, like so. And there's little grooves right here that fit in the holes right here, so they just snap right in. Pretty simple, looks flush, pretty nice setup.
First, you have to hit this little flap that will expose the USB-C. In order to take off this cover first, you just set it 90 degrees and you just pull straight out or straight down, and then it just pops out. Just put it to that side. There's a little metal bar there. That's where it clips to. Now, if I have the Insta360 microphone adapter, so this is a USB-C to a 3.5. So keep in mind, if you have the brand new Insta360 X4, it is a different adapter. So they are not, you can't use the same one. You need to buy a new one if you have X3 versus the X4. So all you do is you put it in the USB-C and then you push it forward and it snaps into place into that like a metal pipe area. So now I have my little adapter. So this adapter here is for a receiver. So I have the Neewer one, but it's the same as the Velcro. And if you can afford it, I would say you can buy the DJI or the Rhodes one. So this Neewer one is about $100. The DJI and Rode one, $200 to $300. So if you look at the clip, there's little prongs that are coming out the clip, and the point is the prongs will go into these holes, and then it'll keep it snug. And then when the prongs go into that bracket, it won't move and it won't fall off. And then you put this onto the Insta360 pole, and you can screw it down. And then also, since you line it up on the side of the Insta360, so it will get stitched out so you won't see it. So if you look here, there's 2 3.5 ports on the receiver. So you want to make sure that you use the out, right? So there's one out and one for a mic, but you make sure you use the out, because if you use the other spot, it's going to add a lot more interference. So what you do is you just put in your little 3.5 cable, you plug that into the output of the receiver, and then you want to try to hide the wire as much as possible so you can get it stitched out of the 360 video. So I'll just fold it up between the bracket, and I'll just plug it into the Insta360 right here like this. So right now I'm just simulating as if it was in the pole so you guys could see it. And then you just tuck it behind there like that, and then everything's gonna get stitched out. So if you look at the transmitter receiver, there's a power button and a dB button. So the receiver has dB, dB settings, right? So since the X3 microphone and the receiver is pretty sensitive, I set the dB setting all the way to the lowest setting. And then in addition to that, as soon as you plug in an external microphone in the Insta360, there's going to be an option for a microphone external gain setting on the Insta X3. So on my Insta X3, I have it set to negative 12 decibels. So that's the right setting for me because I have a pretty decent exhaust. So it's not a super loud exhaust, but it's not all quiet either. But if you have like a quieter exhaust system, let's say you have a stock exhaust system where you're trying to pick up more noise, you want to set the decibel, closer to 0 or maybe even positive if it's really, really quiet. But, for me with the exhaust noise that I'm trying to pick up, it's kind of loud. Since it's a V10 R8, then I set it to negative 12 on the Insta360 X3. And on the Neewer receiver, I always set that to the lowest setting also. So the way that you put this on is first you put on the bracket, and then you just screw in the Insta360 together. But you probably want to do this without the Insta360 plugged in to the audio adapter. So as you can see, I just have it hanging off to the side. And then once that's level, I'll plug the 3.5 back in, and then I will hide the cable. All right, so next up, we're going to take a look at how I'm going to set up the microphones that I'm going to attach to the lower bumper. So first off, I'm going to take the Neewer transmitter, which also comes with the windscreen. So the windscreen has little grooves on the top of the Neewer transmitter, and then you just need to line up the grooves, and then you just put it on and twist, and it'll lock it in place. So what I did was I have a little tie wrap that I have here where I could clip it in, and then I also have a secondary tie wrap that I put on so that I could, make sure that's clipped in. The cool thing about this Neewer transmitter is that in addition to the microphone that's on the transmitter is that there's also a 3.5 microphone input. So basically, for a second test I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Sony Lavalier mic, I'm going to take it in, and this comes with the 3.5, and I'm going to plug that 3.5 into the transmitter of the Neewer unit. That way I could also test different microphones from the bumper section without having a wire dangling down from the X360 to the license plate area, right? Because that would be more difficult to get stitched out because the cable for the Sony microphone is not as long. So now I'm just gonna clip this back onto the tie wrap, and I have a Velcro strip just to hold it in place tight. And then also normally I would just put the Sony mic right over the license plate, and I'll probably show you guys that later. Alright, so in conclusion, my favorite setup is the Insta360 X3 using an external Neewer receiver, both set to -12 decibel, along with the Sony microphone right behind my bumper on top of the license plate to block out all the wind. I think that's the best setup for me with the way that my current exhaust system is set up. The having the Sony mic and not having the Sony mic is not a huge difference. I just like it more. So obviously, you know, if I'm going for a quick setup without using the Sony mic, I do that. That's my number 2. Using the foam windshield with the standard X3. So it works pretty decent lower speeds. When it gets to higher speeds, it's still pretty windy and noisy. And then obviously, lastly, it's just the X3 without any help at all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.